What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Kramer, and in this video, I'm going to share how to save a lot of money on taxes using a cost segregation study. I'm going to show you a real example, but a big disclaimer. I am not an accountant, and this is not legal or tax advice. So this is for educational purposes only. Consult your accountant before you do anything like this. Again, this is just for educational purposes. So what is a cost segregation? So it is a tax strategy for real estate investors that accelerates depreciation by reclassifying certain components of a property like appliances, flooring, cabinets, fixtures, the different pieces of your property into shorter depreciation schedules. That could be 5 years, 7 years, 15 years, instead of the 27.5 years that the IRS uses for residential properties, or the 39 years that the IRS uses for non-residential properties. And I know this is a lot of information. I'm going to be breaking down examples to make it super easy to understand, because I did not understand this topic when I first learned about it. So I'm going to make this as simple as possible. I just got to throw out the definition for you guys. So essentially what we're doing here is we are front-loading depreciation. So instead of taking the benefits over 27.5 years evenly, we're taking a lot of it up front, which is going to allow you to reduce your taxable income in year one. Okay. Now, one other small piece I want to mention before I break down a really simple example for you guys is you cannot depreciate land. So land value is excluded from this scenario. And depending on where you're investing, land could be a small part of the purchase price or value of your property, or it could be a big part. So the land value is going to depend on where you're investing. Okay, so let's break down an example here. Let's say you buy an investment property for $150,000. And then just for this example, let's just say 20% of that value is land. Okay, so we're going to take $150,000 times 80%. So we're excluding the 20%. And that's going to land us with $120,000 in depreciation that we can take over 27.5 years. Okay, pretty good. So if we take the $120,000 that we just got here and divide that over 27.5 years, we're going to be able to essentially write off $43.63 on our taxes every single year for this property that we own it. Okay, that's just the really basic way of doing it. $4,300 in depreciation every single year for 27.5 years. Okay, great. Now, if you're a savvy investor and watching this video, you'll know that you can do something called accelerated or bonus depreciation, where you can take the whole building value, which again, we're saying is $120,000 here, and get more depreciation upfront in year one by doing a cost segregation study. So I'm going to break this down. I know this chart might be overwhelming, but let me break it down really simply here. You're going to see available with no study, okay? And you're going to see 43.23 and 43.23, okay? And if I scroll back up here, you're going to see instead of 43.23, by taking the 80%, we got 43.63. So it's very close. You know, don't worry about the dollars and cents here. It's close enough. So if we don't do a cost segregation study, we're going to be able to get, again, what I said, 43.23 in depreciation per year. But if we do a depreciation study, what we're going to be able to do is get on the low end, $33,000, on the high end, $43,000 in depreciation in year number one. Okay. Now that's insane. I'm going to show you an example here in a second to show you what that actually looks like. But just take that in for a second. Now, in order to do the cost segregation study, you're going to see that there's a fee to do it. So it's $1,500 to then depreciate $33,000 in taxes. So it's showing you your tax saving to fee ratio. So it's a 7-to-1 return, or on the optimistic side, it could be a 9-to-1 return in this scenario. Obviously, every property and scenario is going to be a little bit different. Just showing you this one. Okay, and then to go down even farther here, you're going to see in this scenario, we could take $33,000 year one, and then about $4,400, and it'll slowly go down each year, and we'll still be able to take some depreciation for the years going forward, just not as much as we are up front, obviously. And then it's also showing us the optimistic side, so up to $43,000 year one, and then it slowly goes down after that. So a lot of information. If it's the first time you're hearing about cost segregation, you might need to watch that back really slow just to understand it. But now I want to really drive the point home and show you what a real scenario would look like. So let's just say I made $200,000 in income last year. Again, I'm not claiming anything here. I'm just using numbers. Let's say I made $200,000. I would owe 32% of my income to taxes. And now, how did I get that number? Here is a screenshot from the IRS's website for the tax rates for a single taxpayer. So again, assuming I use the number 200,000, I would fall in the 32% tax bracket, right? So 32% of 200,000 is $64,000 and I would owe in taxes. That's not including any depreciation or any write-offs at all. Okay, again, basic scenario here. Now, if I used standard depreciation, which was that $4,300 number, I can deduct that from my income. And basically, you're not showing the IRS that you made $195,000, but your new taxable income is $195,000. So if you now take your new taxable income, because you subtracted your depreciation from this rental property, you're now saving $1,300 in taxes from this $4,000 deduction. Okay. Again, watch that back again if you need to. I know it's a lot of numbers, but I try to lay it all out there for you so you can walk through and understand it. Now that's if you just do standard depreciation and you're not savvy, you're not watching this video. Now, if I scroll down and show you, if you use bonus depreciation or accelerated depreciation, I could take, again, $33,000 in year one instead of the $4,300 in depreciation. Just to go back up to show you where I'm getting these numbers from, the $4,300 is if you don't do a study. The $33,000 is a conservative estimate if I do a cost segregation study. So this is, I'm using the $33,000 number. You can scroll back down. So now, instead of my $200,000 in income, I'm minusing the $33,000 in depreciation, and my new taxable income is $167,000. Now, what's really cool about that, if we go up to this fancy chart here from the IRS, is my new tax bracket went from the 32% tax bracket to the 24% tax bracket. So now, if I take my new taxable income and multiply it by my new tax rate, the amount of money I owe in taxes for the year is now $40,000. Compare that to the other number. If I don't do bonus depreciation, I would owe $62,000 in taxes, which is saving me $23,000 in taxes. Okay. So again, I know it's a lot of information, especially if it's the first time you're hearing about this, but just to break it down, it cost me in this scenario, $1,500 through a website called recostseg.com. And by the way, yes, I am an affiliate. Yes, I have a link below. If you use it, you'll get a discount. And by the way, this is the company I used for my own properties for taxes this year. But I essentially paid them in this scenario that's made up $1,500 to get me what would be a $23,000 cost savings, which is unreal. And that is one of the many benefits of being a real estate investor. So next steps, if you have never heard about this concept and this is just your introduction to it, that's awesome. Talk to your accountant about this. Just say, hey, I heard about this thing called bonus depreciation. Can you tell me more? If they are weary about it or they don't really understand it and they're not a real estate accountant, get a new accountant, because this is a tax strategy that can save you a ton of money. Second thing is, if you feel so inclined, you can use my referral link down below to get a cost segregation study done. You will get a discount using my link. And of course, I will get something in return. So just being transparent about it. But again, I use this company to do 2 cost segregations for my property and save me a boatload of money on taxes. So I'm sharing this because it was really helpful for me, and I know it can be really helpful for you. And just to go back to this disclaimer, I'm not an accountant. This is not tax or legal advice. I'm just sharing my interpretation of bonus depreciation and this tax strategy, but make sure that you meet with an accountant so that they can break down this tax strategy for you and how it would work with your personal needs. Hope you guys got value out of this video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.